Hello and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast. Good morning, Heather. How are you doing?
Good morning. Okay, why are you laughing?
No,
This is good energy. I love it.
when there's this like so many things running through your mind, I'm like, am I gonna say the right thing? Like I just did like a couple of videos this morning for my other social media stuff. And I'm like, okay, so as I it's funny because your brain starts to process things quickly, right? Um, as I'm saying, the introduction to our show, I was also thinking about some other stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, let's just focus. Here we are. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. So, John, we're going to celebrate today because it is Friday, and that is what we do on Fridays. We celebrate the successes of the week. We celebrate our listeners and what their successes are. So, if you are listening today, we want to hear what you're celebrating. But we actually put a challenge out to everyone, which was to change one thing that will help propel you forward and just see what happens. And we put some suggestions out, but I want to hear, what's that one thing that you changed and how's it helped you? And I'd love to share mine.
Yeah, go ahead, Heather. We'll start with you.
Sure, and let your brain just get back in the game. But you know what? Let me just comment on that. I love that, we are completely vulnerable, completely authentic. This is us being us. And, we've got other things on the go sometimes. And it's really, really cool because, we're making it happen. We're making it all happen. And so many times people say, I'll do that when this is done. I'll do that when I'm older. I'll do that when I retire. How about you just do it now? How about you just do it now? And John, you're sitting in a new location because you're at school. You're going to be teaching in 25 minutes, and just make it all happen. It's completely possible. So interesting. We've got some people that are having some problems with connecting, and it looks like you're on now. So that makes me very, very excited that you joined us for our celebration Friday, Felicia and Mark. This is awesome. So John, this week I joined your shred challenge, and I'm very, very excited. And of course, whenever you join any sort of challenge, you have to decide that you're going to do one thing different. And my one thing different is I'm going to get back to the 10,000 steps. I was falling short quite a bit. So I was happy when I got to 5,000 steps, and really that's not a whole lot of movement, especially for me, and especially for when I'm going to be trekking through Mongolia in 51 days. So I have to be getting my steps in. So it's been fantastic. I've seen some sunrises. I've gone down to the beach late at night. I've seen lots of people get parking tickets. I've seen the city at different times, and it's really, really exciting. But I'm going to tell you, this morning I didn't get up. And I didn't get up because my little puppy dog has been having some stomach issues, and she's been up quite a bit all night, and I decided to stay in bed. And I'll tell you, I feel off. I feel like not like I'm going to go right after, but it just, as soon as you change one thing, your mindset goes towards that goal. And if something gets in the way, you're just a little bit off. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just calling it out for myself, is that when I made a decision and then something gets in the way of it, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm all of those things, but it's okay. I'll get back on track. It's still only 8 a.m. and I'm frustrated because my day didn't start right. Come on, Heather. Get a grip.
Oh, it's so funny. It's funny that you say that. So listen, it happens. We all fall off track. So here's the one thing I learned from somebody, and actually it's my good friend Judith. So Judith, if you're listening, I know you do. You just got to give yourself grace, right? Especially as you're implementing a new program, especially if you're doing something new for the first time. Listen, your brain is wired to work a certain way every single day because those are habits and routines that you've put into place. And now you're forcing yourself to like break your routine, to put yourself into a new habit. There's going to be days where, you're going to feel like, oh man, I'm upset I didn't do it, or oh man, I'm off track. Or so here's the secret to all of this. Number one, give yourself grace.
Yes.
Give yourself a moment to say, you know what, I am doing something new, and I'm doing it for the betterment of myself, my life, and the people around me. Let's go with that. And then the other piece is, what do I need to do to get back on track? Right? Because what I've seen that happens is most people, well, not most, but from the people that I know, is they just stop. It's like, oh, I'm off track. So
no, that's the worst thing you can do.
It's the worst thing, right? It's like It's like that person says, "Oh, I had a slice of cake. Oh, I shouldn't have had that slice of cake. Okay, I'm gonna have another slice. I'm gonna have another slice." The next thing you know, you're like half a cake in, right? So just give yourself grace to say, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. We're here
Mm-hmm.
doing something new, something we've never done before. And our bodies, our minds, everything is adjusting. And even the people around us, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
adjusting to our new way of being. And for them,
Yes.
it's like, for them, it's awkward because now like they have a routine of what you do and, how you manage your day and, things that you do on a regular are no longer the regular for them. And they're
Exactly.
adjusting and they're like, what the heck? Like, what's the matter with you? Nobody told me about this. And it's so give yourself grace. Give
Well,
yourself
I'll
grace.
tell you another thing, John. So last night, I guess this frustration has been for the last 24 hours because I cut my finger and I had to ask for help. I had to ask Patrick for some help. That I'm very independent and I don't ask for help very often. And because I cut my finger, I couldn't do a couple things. And sometimes that's the other thing you need to do. Like, don't
Mm.
wait till you cut your finger to ask for help. How about you just ask for help? Like that, and I listen. This is a life lesson that I have to learn over and over and over again. And I know that when you are trying to learn lessons over and over again, they get bigger and bigger. So why do I
Yes.
have to cut my finger? Like this is just silliness. So I'm putting it out there because I know that there's people that feel the same thing and they have those days where they're like, why is everything just not aligning? And check yourself. It's usually
Mm.
you that's out of alignment first, not the environment, not the people around you. And then you're circumventing it to still be out of alignment. So it's not by accident that I cut my finger. I wasn't being careful. It's as simple as that. And I was actually frustrated with a jar and I was poking at it with a knife and I cut my finger. So like
I'm not
this is
laughing at you cutting your finger. I'm just
no, but
laughing
it's
at because I've
nothing
been
else
there. I
to,
think we've
yes,
all been there, right?
exactly.
We all like, what the heck? And it's like, oh, yeah, no, 100%. Listen, it's it's frustrating. It's upsetting. It's like, maybe I should have grabbed. So sometimes, it's funny because we're talking about this right now. Sometimes we know that the easier thing to do is to go grab like one of those little plastic mat things to like open the jar or heat it up with hot water. But like, who wants to take those extra steps, right? Like, who wants to make it easier for ourselves? Because you're talking about us being out of alignment, and when we're in alignment, we know, hey, the next step, hey, why don't we just heat it up and there's some warm water that'll loosen it up. There's a bunch of different things we do, but we're like, when you force it, and actually this, I love that you
Yes,
shared this lesson with us. When you force it, that's when you end up hurting yourself,
that's
right?
right.
And sometimes it's not physically, sometimes it's mentally, and you scar, right? Like it creates a scar that kind of sits there for a long, long time.
And you
And
activate those automatic negative thoughts in your
mhm,
brain, and then you're like, screw it, I'm not doing this. And that is not like one little mess up is not, it's just a speed bump. It's just so silly. But I wanted to share because that's the experience that I've had in the last 24 hours. And I know I'm the resistance, I'm the frustration, and I just gotta let it all go. So I'm gonna be doing
yeah,
my meditation after this and my walk, and the day will start anew. But John, it is Celebration Friday, so please
yeah,
get us back on track for Celebration
yeah.
Friday. What are you celebrating?
I am celebrating. Hey, number one, I'm celebrating the launch of the 30-day shred in August. So I'm so happy. I've got some new members in the community, which is beautiful. And it's been really interesting having conversations with everybody as they're going through. And like, and it fits perfectly into the theme that we're talking about today because it's an adjustment for a lot of people. For me, I've been doing this particular shred or system for the last year and a half. So for me, it's like, whatever. Like I don't even have to think about it, right? I don't have to write things down. I don't have to follow a program. I don't have to check in on an app. Like I just know because it's at this point, it's automatic for me. So I'm celebrating the fact that people are taking on a new challenge. People are really exploring what's available for them. And that's what I
Mm,
love about this, right? Because it really gives people a new way of being, right? It gives people a new opportunity to try something different. But I'm so happy that we're talking about this particular subject today because people fall off track, right? And like I saw it
mhm.
yesterday in one of the posts where somebody fell off track, and it's okay. Give yourself grace. Just get back on track today. That's it, right? Like don't sit in the, oh man, I failed and I'm not going to move forward with this. I'm just going to give up. Right. And that's what I see people do. Right. Like, forget it. Whatever. I'll do it Monday. Right. Like people say,
Yeah.
I'll wait till Monday to start something new. No, the best time to start something new is right now, this moment. Right. Don't let it go. If you think about it, do it. That's it. Think about it, do it, get it done.
And let's just, call out the elephant in the room for me. I know why this frustration is there, because I cut out the extra sugar that I've been eating in the summertime. So I'm on the 2 days that's kind of not so fun after you start to remove sugar from your diet.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying to myself is, why did you eat all those things? Because we're not happy about what we do in the past. But I made those choices, and now I have to pay for it for 2 days. But it's a great reminder that food creates fog, and food, is the fuel that we put into our bodies, and it helps us have the best life. And we think that immediate gratification is the right thing to do, but it is hurtful in the long run, with inflammation, with aging, with all kinds of other things. And even I know all of this, and I still make sometimes decisions to have some ice cream, and it's in moderation, and it just got a little out of moderation. But I'll tell you, just I made the decision this week to make these changes. I've made them, and it comes with some really good positive things. I'm down 5 pounds this week. Wow. That's how much water I was carrying and inflammation. Wow. So this is what sugar does, right? Inflammation, it holds water. It's obviously not weight that's coming off, but it is, I feel already lighter. So, all of this this frustration that I'm showing comes with massive benefits that in another 24 hours are going to feel amazing. They just don't always feel amazing for the first 48. And that's the other message I want to send out to everyone is, if you're changing anything in your diet, change it and be aware that your brain and your body are reacting to that change, and just sit with it. There's nothing wrong. Just sit with it and be like, this is what that feels like to not have sugar come in, to satiate myself for a moment.
Yeah. And so here's the other thing I want you, I'd like everybody to think about and reflect on is, number one, think about what you're going to feel like in 30 days.
Yes.
Right. Because don't get stuck in today's moment. Right. Like that's what we end up doing. Right. Especially when we're doing something new. It's like, today's like a failure. Well, today's not a failure. It's just the process and the journey to get yourself to where you need to be in the next 30 days. Right. And I think about, and actually it's funny, this week I've been thinking a lot about the Ironman that I did and the changes that had to happen and the mindset that needed to shift in order for me to do that. And listen, I had to change the way I exercised. I needed to change what I ate. Don't get me wrong. So, the one of the things that we do within the 30-day shred is the 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule is really simple. 80% of the time, do the things you're supposed to do. Do the things you need to do to get yourself to where you need to be. And then the other 20% of the time, it's okay. Have that slice of cake, have that ice cream. But that's only 20%. And here's the thing. When you start to feel good, feeling good actually creates better actions and better decisions.
That's right.
Now it's like, well, maybe I won't have a large, right? Maybe I'll have a small, right? Like, listen, I indulge in my ice cream. I have ice cream every once in a while. And, I'll do my Dairy Queen ice cream, or my favorite is the Wild and Reckless at Baskin Robbins. But I'll have 1 scoop instead of 2, right? I know, Wild and Reckless.
Wild and Reckless.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm like, if ice cream had a personality, what personality would I pick? I wouldn't pick Jamal Common Fudge. I'd pick Wild and Reckless.
You're not the rum raisin guy, eh, John?
No rum raisin for me. But, give yourself grace and know, if you live by the 80-20 rule, because this is typically what happened. I love that we're talking about this today. Most people live by the 20-80 rule. Right?
Yes.
20% of the time they do the right thing. 80% of the time they're doing all the things they're not supposed to do. And if you just flip it, right? Like the Pareto's law kind of applies to everything. This is where the 80-20 rule comes from. If you do the 80-20, 80% of the time you do the right things, 20% indulge, have fun, like don't overindulge, but have your ice cream, have your chips, do your thing. And then you will actually create better balance in your life. It's not a 50-50 thing, right? Especially when it comes to health, it's not 50-50. That is, forget that. It's out of the window, because by the time you end up recovering from the inflammation, getting rid of the sugar and digesting all of that stuff, it's just too late, right? You're not getting the benefits from it. So 80-20 is what we live by in the 30-day shred. So this is where your
and the
grace comes in, right?
80-20, our Friday celebration, it's
Mm.
promoting and helping that 80-20, because our brains also always look for things that are wrong. So we need to be celebrating the successes, in 7-day increments, because that's when you can remember what you did in the last 7 days. Be like, yeah, what do I have to celebrate? And if you are having trouble finding a celebration moment, then really spend some time like, what am I doing to live my best life? And am I just doing things out of routine, or am I actually being on purpose for having the best life? And the best life is, are my relationships strong? Am I doing things to build relationships? Am I doing things to help with my personal growth? Am I putting the right nutrients in my body? Am I moving my body in the right way? All of these things are celebration moments. So if you have nothing to celebrate, what I do know for sure is that you are letting your brain be really, really hard on yourself, and not letting your playful side come out and your happiness come out and your joy live in your body. So, and that is a practice thing, and we can actually help you unpractice it and practice celebration. So, what are you celebrating about this week that happened and that you made happen? And that is so important that you do this every Friday with us, because it changes your mental state. You can tell my energy has already changed on this call. Like, I can feel it, and I know you can see it, John. I know the people out there can hear it and see it. And that's why we want to celebrate with you and for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Felicia just put a comment, dairy's bad. I love rum and raisin like you, John, and I adore grape nut. Ooh,
okay, grape nut.
Oh, okay. That's first for me. So I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you, Felicia. Listen, we're always learning from you as well, like the listeners, the audience that's participating. There's always something for me to take away from these calls, which is amazing, because if we weren't doing this, we wouldn't know all this stuff. But the one thing I wanted to share that I was able to do this week, as we threw out the challenge, we also took on the challenge ourselves, right? And my challenge was to create video content first thing in the morning every day this week, right? Before, so here's the thing. I go exercise so I can create videos. I know it sounds funny, but I'll go for my runs, I'll go for my walks, I'll do my stuff first thing in the morning so I can do my videos. And because it's the only time during the day, because the rest of the day just kind of escapes and gets away from you. And one of the things that I challenged myself to do this week as we were going through this process is to do my video content before, sometimes even before my workouts or right after my workouts, first thing in the morning. So I can successfully say this week has been a great success from that perspective, because I've been able to put my videos into the 30-day shred plus everything else that I'm putting online. So super happy about that. Small incremental changes. That's it, right?
Exactly.
And listen, it was an adjustment, right? Like there were moments where it was tough. So
yes,
we're going through it with you, right? So as we throw out these challenges to you, we're also going through it ourselves, and we're learning, and it's a learning process. And this is where grace comes from. So give yourself some grace, right? All right. So today we do have to wrap up slightly. We're gonna wrap up slightly earlier.
Yes, you have to go finish up teaching and being a professor. John, what's the call to action for everyone this weekend?
Yeah. So I think we've been saying it throughout this entire call, is just give yourself some grace. If you've fallen off track, it's okay. Give yourself some grace, recognize it, but then get back on track. Right? Don't waste this moment, celebrate it, say, hey, I recognize that I'm here, and now it's time to go back to where I need to go. So just get back on track as quickly as you can, and this is where you're going to really start to hit it. 80-20, remember, 80-20 good stuff, 80-20, the 20, you can do whatever, within means, like you want to manage it, but 80-20, and give yourself some grace this weekend. All right, that is it for this episode of the Say Yes Movement podcast. We're going to wish you all a fantastic weekend. And remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Have a great one, everybody.